faithful to the Bay. San Francisco 49ers went into Indy and they messed up the engines in Indianapolis. That's right. They took the Colts all the way down. We talking 21-point lead victory. Let's go. Niners straight Hulk smash the Indianapolis Colts, and they did it in so many different ways. Yeah, the defense didn't look great. It's okay, but they finished strong. My mom always said, you know what, son, it ain't about how you start. It's about how you finish. Room. San Francisco 49ers went into Indy and got the job done. I loved what I saw. Faithful, you should be standing up, standing tall, standing proud of this 49ers regime. We're talking about a team that is just, beat up, battered, bruised, missing key defensive players, still can't stop the run. And then in a game where I thought that this team was going to run all over the run defense, no, not today. They sure enough didn't. Jonathan Taylor, he was not as dynamic. Yeah, he got a touchdown in the game. All right, cool. You can give him that. But he was not the Jonathan Taylor we're used to seeing. 16 carries, 46 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. He got the 1-yard touchdown. But the Niners took out Jonathan Taylor. Key to victory. Where's my ding, 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 ding? Let's go. Jack Knox in the building. Let's go, baby. 11-4. Stop playing with us. Let's effing go. 5 wins in a row. I freaking love it. Bang, bang, Niner. You know the word. I'm on Bleacher Report. I don't know if I can say that word. But listen, love what I'm seeing from the San Francisco 49ers. And I told y'all the one thing that I love about this team the most is when they're on the road and they find a way to stick it to the home team. The Niners on the road play so well. I feel like they're not. What is their record on the road? They're 8-2 in the conference. They were 6-2 on the. Are they 7? They're 7-2 on the road. The Niners are 7-2 on the road. You can't tell me. The Niners on the road are dangerous. Dangerous. They're dangerous on the road. That's why I'm okay if the Niners got to travel in the this playoff push to get to the Super Bowl. Because when they're on the road, they just play a different brass of football. Different brass of football. Listen, we got playoff talks. The Niners are still currently the 6th seed for those that are out there. But they improved to 11-4. And that's huge because we said if the Niners win out. And for those that don't understand that means we play Seattle with the last game. So winning out means we beat Seattle. You win out, you win the division, you get the number 1 seed. So the Niners are definitely on that trajectory, and they showed up. Offensively, we'll start there, baby. This offense was dropping bombs left and right. I'm talking explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. You had him on the ground. We got Christian McCaffrey on the ground. This dude finished with over 100 yards. Congratulations, CMC, 1,000 yards rushing. That's my dog. CMC, 1,000 yards this season, over 1,000 yards. He's got 2 more games. Man, I know. What do you think we should do with CMC? Do you think you rest him? Hell no. He needed, 150, 160 yards receiving, 2 games, 80 yards a game. It's going to be tough. I ain't going to lie. But you need him. You put him out there, man. I really believe Christian McCaffrey can get the 1,000 yards receiving. I truly believe that he can. You know what I'm saying? I truly believe. 49ers diehard says, let's go. Pam Burgess in the building. Hope George Kittle's okay for next week. Listen, he looked like he got an ankle sprain, right? And so George Kittle will be the next offensive player we'll talk about. He was the leading receiver in this game. This dude was targeted the most. He had 8 targets, 7 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. George Kittle continues to just trend up, for the San Francisco 49ers. But he did leave the game early on a play where he was cut too hard. Kendrick Bourne actually caught the pass, I believe, on that play. And George Kittle ended up tweaking his ankle. So we'll see what happens. The good news is he didn't go to a medical tent. but it just looked like he had some type of ankle sprain. But here's the cool thing about that: we got to see Jake Tonjes come in the game, and I don't care what anybody says, that was a touchdown. That was clearly a touchdown. Dude dragged his two toes in that end zone, caught that pass before Christian McCaffrey got his second touchdown. That was a touchdown. And then he ended up getting another pass a little bit later on in this game. But listen, I think the Niners are pretty much cool if George Kittle had to be put on ice for a little bit. We'll see how this ankle is. It could have been just a tweak. It could have been an ankle sprain. I don't know. But George Kittle in the receiving game was phenomenal. Juwan Jennings ended up being phenomenal. Not 100 yards receiving for Jennings, but 6 targets, 5 receptions for 71 yards and a touchdown pass for him. He still leads the team in touchdown receptions. He has 8 touchdowns on the season. I think George Kittle is right behind him with 7. Actually, I think Juwan Jennings and Christian McCaffrey may just be tied. Because Christian McCaffrey caught 2 touchdowns in this game. Not 1, but 2. Speaking of Christian McCaffrey, this dude rushed for over 100 yards, man. 100 yards. Round of applause, Christian McCaffrey. I think this is the second game in the season where he rushed for over 100 yards. 21 carries, 117 yards, I believe, on the ground. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry, right? And he got his longest of the season for 24. It was 20 yards. The longest he got was 24 yards in this game. So Christian McCaffrey still found a way to cook on the ground and just breaking records, right? Christian McCaffrey is just up there with let me see if he got some milestones in this game. Let me check my note status about Christian McCaffrey. Just far as his milestones, other than the 1,000 yards, I mean, he's just up there with touchdowns. He's Emmitt Smith. These are names. Christian McCaffrey, over 1,800 scrimmage yards this year, this season. This is his 5th time he's done that in his career. All right, so he's really close to that 2,000, 1,000, 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Joining Marshall Faulk, Emmitt Smith, LaDainian Tomlinson for second most such seasons. Only Walter Payton had more with 7. So that's a tough one to catch. Walter Payton. But yeah, like this is what you want, right? Christian McCaffrey is just out here doing the damn thing. Definitely a bounce back from last week. Didn't think he really was great in the run game last week, but this week the Niners offensive line deserves a round of applause. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, I see a comment that I want to talk about. I wouldn't be surprised if just if the things just continue to flow the way they're going when it comes to Christian McCaffrey being out there on that football field. I really truly believe it's going to be tough to get the 1,000 yards receiving. But if there's an injury, if George Kittle can't go, Christian McCaffrey had 8 targets in this game as well, 6 receptions. They just weren't big. There were no screen plays. There were no design plays. There were more like checkdowns and stuff like that. So we'll see. Can he get it? I think it'll be dialed up for him to get it. All right, Niner Nation, because we're going to flip the script and talk about Brock Purdy in a second. Career game for touchdown passes. Oh, 2 things about Brock Purdy we'll talk about. But he says just a little bit upset with Bourne for wrecking Purdy's perfect game. All right, so Purdy wasn't perfect. I hate to break it to you. He was 25 for 34. Now, do you mean perfect as far as not turning the ball over? Because if you really watch that was on Brock Purdy. That ball was high and it sailed. So as he was throwing, that ball went up, right? I feel like there's only 2 people that would have had this year that would have had an opportunity to catch that. Juwan Jennings, George Kittle. I feel like they would have been able to adjust to make that catch. I don't think Kendrick Bourne would have been able to adjust to a high sailing Purdy throw. Purdy's got to bring that ball down. That's it. He was because if that ball does get tipped, and we've seen this before from Brock Purdy, he's been having some high passes down the middle of the field, maybe too much velocity on it or whatever. He needed to have just put that ball to where Kendrick Bourne can go get it. And I know we saw Kendrick Bourne touch it, but watch it again. Kendrick Bourne, and you say Jennings catches that all day. That's not Jennings is not Kendrick Bourne. I think we're clear on that, right? Like they're 2 different receivers. They're 2 different receivers. Juwan Jennings is what, 6'3", 6'4", Kendrick Bourne's what, 6'2", not even 6'3". Just two different receivers. So yeah, you're right. I said there are two guys that I think would have made that catch. Maybe three if Brandon Ayuk was back, but that was a tough one. That was a tough one. That ball sailed on him at the last minute. But let's talk about Brock Purdy. 5 freaking touchdowns from the Brockinator, baby. Yeah, yo, whoa, Brock was cooking. And on my show earlier on YouTube, the Wayne Breezie Show, 49ers Show every Monday, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You go check it out. Follow me on YouTube at the Wayne Breezie. Listen, I told you my offensive player of the game was going to be who? Brock Purdy. This cat threw 5 touchdowns. He finished with 126.8 rating, and I think that's what you mean by that perfect. He didn't have a perfect rating, but he was damn near close to it prior to that interception. So if that's what you meant, I got you. 126 rating. Longs was 26, 295 yards. Back-to-back games with 295 yards for Brock Purdy, right? Almost at the 300 mark, back-to-back games. Almost at 300 against the Titans as well. 295, I believe. A little bit less in yards per average. It was 8.7 this week. But 5 touchdowns. 5 of these foghorns. No rushing touchdowns today, but 5 of those foghorns from Brock Purdy. And to 4 different dudes. Right? 4 different dudes. I mean, shout out to Demarcus Robinson catching the first one. I think then you had Christian McCaffrey might have been next. Then there was a George Kittle. Then there was a Jawan Jennings. Then there was a Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if I got the order right, but those were the 5 touchdowns from Brock Purdy. And what I liked about Brock was he was very decisive. He was making every throw wasn't a safe throw. But man, him on the move, throwing that dime across the field, I'm like, yo, Brock is just in a different set of bag. Like he's on a different planet right now. And that's what you gotta like. You gotta put respect on this guy's name because Brock is continuing to get healthier week in and week out. And the more Brock is healthy, the more he's gonna cook. And Brock looks damn near like how he was his rookie year at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I definitely like what I'm seeing from Brock Purdy as he continues to, ascend in football this year. And there's a couple of more games where I feel like he can get right. Got to play a tough defense coming up with the Chicago Bears. And you got to play another tough defense when it comes to Seattle Seahawks. But ask me if I care. I think you'll be able to see Brock either dime him up and he's fitting balls into tight windows. He's taking those chances. And I like that. I like that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is key, right? That to me is 100% what we need from Brock Purdy moving forward, right? We need him to be confident, and he's confident. Even in that throw to Kendrick Bourne where it was the mistake, it was the interception, I still saw confidence in that throw. I thought he threw it with a little bit too much velocity, and that ball ended up sailing high on him. And yeah, again, Kendrick Bourne did touch it. Unfortunately, it went through his hands. But you could tell, like, it was high. It was high for him. It was very high. All right. So Brock Purdy, hands down. Let me know, man. I got the poll question going on right now. As far as player of the game. We'll get back to these results toward the end of the show. But right now, Brock Purdy's in the lead. I can't believe no one's voted for George Kittle and no one's voted for D. Winters. You guys suck. All right, now I get why. I know why he's probably voted for D. Winters. We do want to give some money shout outs because we got the money going on right now because Kendrick Bourne twice in the same game. I felt like he caught that first pass too, but they ruled it incomplete. They overruled it incomplete after the challenge, but he did end up getting his incentive, right? So he ended up getting the yards incentive for $500,000. Now he could make $700,000 on this, $750,000 on this season if he can get 600 yards, right? So Kendrick Bourne have 499 coming into the game, and right now he is at 27 to 499, right? Can Kendrick Bourne get 600 yards and earn that bonus before the season? Now, I don't know if the bonus ties over into the playoffs or whatnot, the postseason, but Kendrick Bourne, you gotta like what you're seeing from Kendrick Bourne. He's making tough catches in traffic. He's moving chains. He's actually on the field the same time Jawan Jennings. So you gotta like what you're seeing from Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne is continuing to trend up when he's getting the opportunities, but the Niners Brock Purdy has no favorites, and he is spreading that ball out. And that's why I feel like Brock Purdy is just on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like really, 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 really on fire. And that's what we need. You know, that's what we need. So congratulations to Kendrick Bourne. Offensively, like the unsung heroes offensively was the offensive line. I mean, you got Trent mauling cats down the football field. You got the guards I thought played damn near well. I mean, when Christian McCaffrey rushes for over 100 yards, you know damn well you're playing great from the offensive line point. I don't think Brock Purdy was sacked at all in this. Oh, he did get sacked once, but he wasn't. He was pressured, but not really hit a lot. I can't wait to see how the pressures are broken down per PFF. But Brock Purdy, to me, just looked pretty cool, calm, and collected, whether it was in the pocket. And when he had to move outside the pocket, he was able to clear some lanes and make some tight throws, right? Some tight throws. So in a game offensively where the Niners struggled to run, don't forget, this was the #1 run defense. And the Niners ran all over this run defense. Now, speaking of defense, we got to flip the script because I just spent 16 minutes talking about the offense. I'm going to spend the next 14 minutes talking about the defense because the defense, round of applause for stopping the run. Thought they sold out. They sold out against the run. They stopped the run. They said we're going to stop the run, and they stopped the run. But God dang it, they gave up some explosive plays. They gave up too many points. You know, for me, 20, 24, 27 is a lot of points. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of points from this defense, but they gave it too many explosive plays. Alec Pierce was having a day. They were playing this soft shell coverage, this too high safety thing. And I'm just like, yo, it ain't working. You're getting beat deep. Shout out to Jair Brown and freaking Malik Mustafa on that deep play to Josh Downs down the football field. Expect to see that again. Expect to see another offense try to mismatch that with a wide receiver on a safety down the middle of the football field. Expect it, especially with Seattle. That Rashid Shaheed got some speed. Possibly you'll see it maybe with the rookie Luther Burden with Chicago or DJ Moore in Chicago. I don't know, but expect to see that again. But I like the way that they defended it. I thought defensively they kind of picked on Darrell Jr. I thought that was a bull BS. You want to talk about a BS call? That pass interference on Darrell Luter Jr. should have never been called. And they picked on him for sure. You're supposed to. He was the newest guy out there. But that was a BS call. You had some dumb penalties in the game defensively. A couple offensively, but defensively, the Diamador Lenore penalty was dumb. So just a lot of dumb stuff to where sometimes the defense shot themselves in the foot, but they struggled, in my opinion, in the pass game, right? They struggled in the pass game. They didn't really generate a lot of pressure. We did get a sack, so you can chalk it up to the rookie C.J. West for laying a boo on Phillip Rivers. And I think we had 2 sacks in this game. I felt like it was him. And let's see how many other sacks we had. Let's see. We had 1 sack from West, and Alfred Collins got the sack, right? So, and the fumble, the sack fumble. Unfortunately, we didn't recover the fumble. So that was that. So you got some pressure up front, but it definitely wasn't pressure in the way we know from the edge, how we know for it to be. It was definitely some pressure, though. You saw some blitzing from Robert Saleh. Sometimes we got burnt. A couple of times we were able to get in there and be disruptive with the pass. So Alfred Collins, that was a big sack, pause. And unfortunately, the Niners they couldn't recover that ball, but that was definitely a big sack. And you got the other one. So both rookies, so both defensive tackles, both rookie defensive tackles were the ones that not only generated the pressure up front, but actually got home and got credited for the sacks on Phillip Rivers. So the defense was clearly bend, don't break. Bend, don't break, right? Bend, don't break. Now, my thing is, if the defense gave up so many points, and if the offense couldn't outscore, it would have been a problem. We would have been more on this defense, talking about the defense, right? Talking about how they struggled. Here's what I like. They bent, but they didn't break. And to seal the deal on the defensive side, you got the freaking pick 6 by D. Winters. for the touchdown, the 49ers touchdown, right? And so, look, and I forgot to mention this about Brock Purdy, and I'll get back to that, but D. Winters, I feel like this was his first career pick six, right? Kind of gave me Navarro Bowman vibes, to pick at the stick on December 13th, right? Y'all remember that game, right? It just gave me that kind of vibe to seal the deal for the Niners to go to the playoffs, but they were already clinched, and they would have clinched tonight had they not been already clinched. So with the win tonight, they would have clinched. So it was really good to see D. Winters just be in the right position at the right time and all that good stuff, right? Because that's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see, can the defense make a play? The defense forced a fumble, couldn't recover it, but they got the pick six, which put them up by 3 scores, and it sealed the deal for the San Francisco 49ers. So defensively, overall, not the greatest defense that I expected. You know what I'm saying? They gave up over 300 yards of offense, but they definitely did what they needed to do. They stopped the run. They stopped the run. They did what they were supposed to do. They took out Jonathan Taylor. They stopped the run. 46 yards, I'll take it. A 1-yard touchdown, oh well, you knew it was getting there. But they gave up too many explosive plays, in my opinion. And the explosive plays down the football field, the big throws down the football field, the 20 yards or more down the football field, they gave up several of those. But that was bending and don't break. Bending and don't break. So I will credit the defense for not breaking, but they still need work. And you're going to get that. You're going to get that because this defense is young. This defense is inexperienced. And even when Tatum Bethune left the game with the ankle injury, he didn't return to the game. You brought in Eric Kendricks, and Eric Kendricks did what? He struggled against the freaking pass. Missed tackles, again, was a problem defensively, right? Tatum Bethune missed tackle, bad coverage on the third down to Jonathan Taylor. And then you get another missed tackle by Tatum Bethune on Josh Downs on a 3rd and 12, 13, whatever. It's just, he just looks slow. Unfortunately, he did leave the game with the ankle. Now, he returned to the team from a high ankle sprain and left the game with an ankle injury. So Kittle, Bethune, and Moore, he was evaluated for a concussion. Those were the 3 players that did not return to this game. All right. So we'll talk about their injuries a little bit later. But defense, they got to find a way to get better because as the playoffs kick off, if the defense can't stop the run and can't find a way to limit the explosive plays, here's what limiting explosive plays is for me. If you give up an explosive play, but just don't give up the touchdown. But if you give up an explosive play that is too close to the end zone, it's going to be a touchdown. It's like if you're going to give up an explosive play, do it to where they still need to make more plays to try to score just to kind of recover from that explosive play. But don't give up the explosive play where it's close to the end zone. And because next thing you know, all it takes is a defensive penalty, and then boom, they're at the end zone, they're in the end zone. And next thing you know, they're scoring an easy touchdown. The defense got to be a lot better. And I gave credit. I gave credit to the people on defense. I think Alfred Collins did what he needed to do with getting the sack. CJ West did what he needed to do to get the sack. Defensively, who led this team in tackles? You had Jair Brown. Tatum Bethune had 9, but he left the game early. So Bethune had some big hits on Jonathan Taylor. Some big hits on Jonathan Taylor. He definitely did. And so defensively, they bent, but they didn't break. Offensively, they put up mad points, and that's how you win a game. It's like complementary football. It's like, yo, we don't do all these things well, but we're going to do what we do well. And then if you go out there offense and do what you do well, it'll complement one another. And that's what you got from the 49ers. And that's why they're on a 5-game winning streak, headed back home to take on the Chicago Bears on Sunday Night Football to go on a 6-game win streak and then potentially end the season on a 7-game win streak, going into the playoffs hot with the first round. So then they'll get a week off, and potentially you may get back a guy like Fred Warner, depending on his health and his recovery and things like that. So that's the future. But as of right now, the Niners are hot. They're dangerous. And I think I've had the show about the Niners being the most dangerous team in a long time. For the longest, I've been talking about this is a dangerous team. This is a dangerous team. And once that defense starts to click, once the experience starts to kind of like shape itself out, it might not be the season. But you can tell, I like what I saw from Darrell Luter Jr. today. Did they pick on him? Did he give up a touchdown? Yep. He did. He sure did. He gave up a TD, but he was there. He was there. He didn't get beat on a double move. It was just a better throw to Alec Pierce, and great catch, but he was there. I'll give it to him. I'll give Darrell Luter Jr. being in on that pass than not. And I'm not saying he's better than Renardo Green, but he looked pretty solid out there. He looked pretty solid in pass coverage and in the run stop. He was in there on the tackling in his run defense. He had 6 tackles. 5 of them were solo tackles. He's not afraid to tackle. So I like what I saw from Darrell Luter Jr. I'm not sure what's going on with the neck injury to Renardo Green moving forward, but the Niners got some good reserve pieces if need be. Definitely like what I saw from Renardo Green. From Darrell Luter Jr. Special teams continues to strive, right? Decent returns. Got a nice return from Sky Moore today. Yep, you did. You got a nice return from Sky Moore. And you know, he 4 returns on kicker for 112 yards. His longest was 36. He had the 1 punt for 8 yards. You know what I'm saying? But that's him. Like Sky Moore, they kicked it to him. He did what he did. He got the Niners in good field position, and he continues to trend up. Eddie Pinheiro finally missed. He's no longer, perfect on the season, but he missed a 64-yard field goal, guys. Like, by far out of his norm. That's so far. 64 is the longest he ever attempted, and it missed by literally a foot or an inch or however you want to look at it, but it was there. You know what I'm saying? It was there. Some news about Trent Williams. He just told everybody that he is nowhere near done. Now, I do want to put out, I said that the offensive line looked marvelous on today. Pass protecting, run blocking, and he said on ESPN that I'm nowhere near done. Nowhere near done. And this dude is 36 years old, hasn't missed a game all season. And Kyle Shanahan said that 9 times out of 10, this is the best he's looked, the most healthy he's been in years. That's a great sign. That's a great sign. That's a great sign. That's a great sign. Sky Moore did end up getting that concussion on that last return. I don't know if y'all remember it. And he kind of got hit in the head as he went down. The cameras turned away from him. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I knew he was probably going to be out for a little bit. So he didn't return back into the game. He had a nice catch today, though. You know what I'm saying? Jack says, great job, 49ers. Let's keep this winning streak going. 12-4 coming up. Up next, guys, the Bears. The Bears. Niners Nation says, quite possibly the best offensive tackle to ever play the game. Yeah. Got to get him a Super Bowl. It will help solidify his career and status entering into the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Entering the Hall of Fame. Niner Nation always also said, they talked about Robert Saleh, potentially looking for a head coach job. I mean, the options are they're gonna be there for him. So we'll see what happens. Low key, love the name. Says Kyle Shanahan's coach of the year. Without a doubt, I mean, he gets my vote. And you can vote Ben Johnson because this is first time. I mean, Ben has a pretty stacked house over there in Chicago, but hey, it is what it is. I think people were expecting Kyle Shanahan to do this, and because you were expecting him to do it, he's probably not going to get the votes. But he's not doing it with the players that we expected him to do it with. That's why he should get the vote. So I'm not trying to be a homer here, but damn, man, Kyle's got his team at 11-4, and he's missing 2 All-Pro, 3 All. Wait, well, Brandon Ayuk never made it All-Pro, but dang, he's missing 2 All-Pros and his best wide receiver. Make it make sense. I don't know. It is what it is. But the Niners are trending up. 11-4 is great. 12-4, 13-4 would be even better. But you know what would be the best was they can finish out 13-4, get the number 1 seed in the playoffs, rest for a whole week, and the playoffs go through on the NFC side. They go through San Francisco. That means the games will be home games. Whew. And if they went out, their home record would be great, right? Their home record, because I think they're, what are they at home? 3-3. So they got a chance to, they got 4-3. I don't know. 4-3, and then they got 2 more at home, something like that. 5, 6, or 6-3 they could finish, or 7-3 they could finish at home, and then 9-2 on the road, I believe, which should be the 4 losses. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Anyway, they could win out at home, and their home will be just as good. So the Niners played a great game against the Colts. I thought the game plan was superb. I thought Kyle Shanahan was in his bag. You didn't see any trick plays, but you saw a lot of great execution. Kyle Shanahan's plan was to run the ball, and the Niners did just that, but he also let Brock cook. And I think the more we see Kyle Shanahan take the chains off of Brock and just let him Brock, man, good things happen. We can argue all day about that interception. You can blame it on Kendrick Bourne because he touched it. That is fine. But that ain't why that ball was intercepted. That ball was intercepted because that ball was high. Y'all gotta take the blinders off and be like, all right, that was a high pass. Now, some wide receivers on this team, 2 of them, Kittle, which might have been high for Kittle too. But I know Juwan Jennings makes that catch. That's his thing. And unfortunately, that wasn't a Juwan Jennings target. And I kind of wish that was a Juwan Jennings target, you know. But we've seen Juwan Jennings tip a high pass as well when a ball came in hot and sailed on him, and it ended up being a pick. So it is what it is. Brock, you OD Winters, a Lexus, not a Toyota. Go to high end of Toyota. Get that man a Lexus for Christmas for sealing the deal for you after you turn the ball over. If I'm Brock Purdy, you giving everybody else Toyotas, give that man a Lex. I don't even know what they make anymore. I'm from the 90s, so GS3 bubble. That's what I get him, something like that. But the newer version model of that right there, Brock. I mean, you could do it. You just write it off. You know what I'm saying? But D Winters, man, way to seal the deal. Player of the game right now, Brock Purdy is the player of the game with 71% of the votes. No votes for George Kittle. No votes for D Winters. Crazy. Guys, I'll be back live at the immediately following the Chicago Bears game on Sunday Night Football. So it'll be another late night for us. So next Sunday after, good old Christmas will be not this Sunday, the Sunday after, right? Yeah. Oh, it is this Sunday. Nah, can't be this Sunday. Are we playing this Sunday? We are playing this Sunday. God damn, we don't get a break. It's only Monday. That's what it is. It's just Monday. Sunday night, we'll be back. Chicago Bears is on and popping, man. Make sure you tune in. Don't forget to check out the other videos right here on Bleacher as well as my YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that stuff out. Love you guys. Keep it faithful to the Bay, and thanks for tuning in. Peace. What's up, faithful? Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and make sure you check out some of the other cool videos.